We're live. Hey, happy Monday. It's me in a room by myself, and Andy's here. Hi, Andy.
Hi.
Good morning, Dylan and Daryl. Daryl's in Arizona. Dylan Williams is on. I don't think I'm riding solo today. I just think we're catching up on the weekend. So Andy's here. Andy always is here.
I have to be.
Hey, so obviously it's Monday. We got to fire it up. But how was your weekend, bud? Look at you getting energized.
It was a good weekend, Matt. I went and played some airsoft. Got to try out my new toys.
So I wish we had a picture of that, because that thing is legit tater chip, man. Your new gun you got?
Oh, yeah.
So
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, can you tell anybody about it a little bit? Or wish we could.
So for you gun guys out there, it's an MPX, but I did a lot of upgrades to it. So I pretty much gutted the whole gun. I replaced my stock, replaced my inner barrel, replaced my spring, my hop-up unit.
Do you still have it here?
It's actually in my trunk.
You should go grab it. Who cares if we get kicked off Facebook and YouTube? We're on Fix. You should go show everybody.
True.
This thing is awesome.
That's why we created Fix, right? So we can do this stuff.
Eddie, just hit that autopilot button and go grab that thing. I think people should.
You really want me to do it?
I really do. Like, if we get kicked off of Facebook, that's Facebook's dummy fault.
Oh, we show guns on Facebook.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I don't really care.
No, but we do, don't we? On the sales floor, we do.
Yeah, we do. But
True.
Go grab it, Andy.
All right.
Now that Brian's in here, we got some stuff to talk about.
Sorry, I was late. We were talking about all that new Fixed TV structure stuff.
Yeah, it's good. We gotta finish some stuff up. Adam Savage, what's up?
Morning, everybody. Sorry, I was like a couple minutes late.
So
blame Kyle.
There's a lot to talk about in the football world this weekend.
Yeah, I guess
A little bit.
there is. I mean, there's a little bit to talk about. I mean, realistically, everyone knows I'm a Packer fan, but I'm not really all that hurt about it because we are what our record.
San Francisco, anyway.
Right, exactly. 100%. That's what I was gonna say. Okay, we win that game last night, which we didn't deserve to win.
Oh.
We are an 8-9 team at best.
Yep.
Which is our record at best.
Yep.
I think we had a lot of breaks, and it was fun. It's a fun little run. It's fun to get excited. But we were going to go to Frisco and get the shit kicked out of us anyways.
Yeah.
It really didn't matter.
Yeah.
So let Seattle go get... And honestly, from an organizational standpoint, that win was like false hope.
Yeah.
Right? Because we weren't very good this year.
No.
And now the organization can't be like, well, we made the playoffs. You know, right?
Yeah,
that's what they do.
Yeah.
The coaching staff, the leaders of the organization, everybody would have been like, well, we made the playoffs, so it wasn't that bad. No, it was an absolute disaster. Now, if you're an average bad team, right, like the Texans, okay, fine, you can make that case. But when you're the Green Bay Packers, you don't get that luxury.
No.
Like, there's a different, and all the coaches and players, there's a different standard being a Packer.
There were so many mental errors.
Did you actually watch the game?
I did. I figured I had to come in here today. There were so many mental
That
errors.
was bad. Rodgers didn't play. Rodgers looked terrible. Jones fumbling. I think there's 2 or 3 other fumbles we probably got lucky on.
Yep.
That we got back.
Okay, so what's his name? Tunyon or whatever the hell that tight end's name is?
Yep, Robert Tunyon.
His logic was to touch the ball while he was out of bounds instead of making an effort.
I watched that play. I watched that play live, and all that is that's commentators trying to stretch
the truth.
Come up with something.
The guy made a half-ass effort.
Yeah, when you watch that live, he was flopping. Like there was no intent of I'm going to have my foot out of bounds and touch the ball. That's a bunch of crap.
It was a half-ass effort.
Yeah, that was a bunch of crap.
And okay, so there's 2.
And honestly, he hasn't been the same since his ACL.
Yeah,
he had that blown ACL. He looks slow, and it takes those guys a while. I mean, that's a major deal to come back from.
Oh, 100%.
But he does not look fast at all.
Okay.
Not like he did when he first came out.
So the field goal where the guy touched the ball before the snap.
Yeah, what? That's just.
I don't understand that crap. And then the one I did miss the linebacker pushing the help.
See, and that's
I didn't understand that either
because he's an idiot. See, and he's one of my favorite. Like I shouldn't say favorite guys on the team, but I was talking like from a football player standpoint. The dude can play football.
Yep.
But he's a baby. Like,
Oh, did you see him when he was walking?
oh yeah, he's crying.
Yeah.
He was literally. I was on Twitter because I like to tweet random crap.
Yeah.
And I was on there last night. I'm like, you know what? Packers don't deserve that win. Number one, they got outplayed. The Lions are a way better team at top to bottom, and the Lions play like their coach. Like, he's a hard ass.
He is a hard
and they
ass.
play like that, and that's awesome. And I think that's something the Packers have to worry about because they've got tons of young talent.
Yep.
Bears are going to get the first round pick now. And the Packers play kind of soft as a whole.
Yeah.
And now, is that because of LaFleur's kind of a pretty boy? I don't know. That's just talking aloud. But obviously the Lions kind of look like their head coach.
Yeah, that's true.
So are we kind of soft because our head coach is kind of he's like the number one pretty boy coach.
He's the, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All the women like to go, right?
Yeah.
Like, so whatever. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but I think it is, personally. I do. I personally believe that. So anyway, back to the Walker guy. The trainer came over and just tried to move him out of the way so he could get in there to do his freaking job.
Yeah.
That's his job. The guy laying on the floor.
Yep.
Right now, it came out after the fact that a couple of the Packers that were really tight there, I guess they were all played for Georgia.
Yeah.
So that kid was, so he's probably one of their friends.
Yep.
And they're probably trying to track on one of their friends. Totally get that.
Yeah,
but what are you shoving? Like you're 10. Like, what the hell? There's no room for that. Like, I'm actually glad he got tossed.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's just no room for that. It's just terrible sportsmanship. It's terrible just being a human. It's
Let your
terrible.
emotions get the best of you
Right.
for no reason.
Yes, 100%.
That was, but you were talking about the Lions head coach.
Well, that same thing happened though with that field goal deal.
Yeah.
I don't why he went in there to tip the ball or whatever. I don't even know, but that's not why they threw the flag.
No, it's
because one of the offensive linemen said, "Dude, get out of here," and then he punched him in the face.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So
because a 49-yarder is not a chip shot last night. It was cold,
especially the way it was.
Right.
There's a lot of things that happened in that. I think it just solidifies the fact that the Packers weren't deserving.
See, and I think there's, how do I say this? I think that there's a difference with, and this is where I think Rodgers is a part of the problem.
I'm listening to this
because this is where I think Rodgers is part of the problem, and this is just coming from me coaching for a really long time. When you have a guy like Rodgers on your team, you have to coach him differently, right? Like, he's almost a coach himself.
Yes.
So your expectations of him are a little bit different. Well, when the young team like we have, sees that he's got this different set of criteria, do they try to follow that, but they're not mentally capable yet?
Right.
Because some of these guys are fresh out of college. They're 22, 24 years old. Yep. Rodgers is 40, whatever.
Yeah, he's 39.
Maturity-wise is a major, major difference. So where a coach like the Lions coach, who knows he's got young guys everywhere, he coaches that a lot tighter, meaning his expectations are a lot tighter, right? I don't know if the Packers have – I have no idea how they run it. But I could see where for LaFleur it's difficult because I can't treat Rodgers the same way I got to treat all these young guys.
Yeah.
But if I treat Rodgers like the young guys, he's a little bitch and he's going to bitch about being like that because that's how Rodgers is. Because he's not
very selfish.
Yeah, the good word for it. I have a lot of words for it, but I'm not going to say them here.
Right.
One of them's Kyle Carpenter's favorite phrase for people. Yeah. I'm not going to say that here.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep.
Or, because he's not big enough. He's not a big enough adult to okay, I understand, coach, that this is the way it's got to be for everybody, and these young guys need that, right?
Yeah.
Or or is he get out of my way? I'm Aaron Rodgers, and LaFleur's like, well, I got to deal with this guy's ego and whatever because he's my quarterback, and he's the best option I have right now, and we got $100x bazillion tied up into him. Therefore, all these other kids just kind of don't have the structure that's required for them to be successful.
But the leader...
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so often we refer to him and Tom Brady in the same sentence, but they're not.
But see, the problem is
Brady makes sacrifices. Well, Brady is...
Yeah, Brady's a leader. And I think Rodgers tries, but I think he's not.
No.
I don't. I think from past players that have come out... you were a Favre fan, right? Nobody ever came out, and other than when he was taking pictures that he shouldn't have been taking.
Right.
There was never questions from the locker room, past, current, whatever players saying that I don't want to play for that guy. Like, most guys would have been like, you know what, Favre, like I will take a bullet for you when you're on my team.
So that brings up this question. So if Rodgers were to go to a different team, let's say it is a team that ends up to be in our conference, do you think if when he retires as a Packer, right?
Yeah, he'll retire as a Packer.
Do you think he'll have the same kind of home outcry like he did when
No, and I know for a fact because I was at Lambeau when Favre came back and they retired his
Yeah, I was
number
there
up
too.
on the circle.
Yep.
And that's when Rodgers is there. And I lived through the Favre thing.
Yep.
I went to every Favre home Packer game. And the place was always electric. Like I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah,
like that place is insane.
Hell yeah.
It's never been like that with Rodgers. In 17 years, the dude is probably one of the best like position players ever. Like if you take all of the extra away from it
Yep.
and just looked at throwing the football, making the reads, all of the things of the actual what the position requires, not looking at the leadership side.
Yep.
I think that Rodgers is one of the best ever, and I don't think you could argue that. But when you talk about just being like if you've never been in a locker room, I don't know how to describe this, but if for the people that are watching, I know you'll get this, that have been in the locker room, whatever, there's that dude factor, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's that,
Yeah.
that, you know what? You can make all the throws, you can do all the things, but I guarantee you when Favre walked into the room versus when Rodgers walked in the room, I guarantee you they were not the same. Because and I think that's what the fans felt.
Yeah.
There's that well, the people call it the it factor, or that dude factor, where it's like, that's the guy.
That's
like,
the guy, right?
Right? Like Josh Allen's got that now.
Yeah.
Where like he steps on the field and he can throw 4 picks and nobody cares because he's going to make the next 30.
Right.
They don't care.
Right.
Like fans want to see you take those risks, which he's never been willing to take. And I know that like back to the Favre thing, when Favre came, they retired his number. That place is deafening.
Oh, it was
Like
sold out.
Lambeau is deafening.
It was awesome in there.
Yeah, it deafening.
It was-
It's never been, and it was like that. It was like that every game Favre came out of that tunnel, forever.
Yep.
And Rodgers comes out. It's loud.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's not the same.
No.
I mean, it's not 70,000 people willing to take a bullet for you.
No.
It's the same.
Well, and last night, like, we got to see this when Favre was kind of getting towards the end of his career, too. But, like, that play on the goal line where he ended up not running it.
No, but you got a John Elway, right?
Yeah.
Super Bowl. You got to nut up.
You gotta
Season's
go.
on the line, and you got to put your head down and go. But Rodgers has never been that.
No.
My dad's always called him the pretty boy from California. Rodgers has never been that nut up guy.
No.
Like, I don't even know if I can say nut up on Facebook, but it's
You just
facts.
did, yeah.
No, but I think I said it like 4 times. But like that's where you get like the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows,
Tuck it in and you go.
the Herbert guy. They're gonna like make a play. Like I'm getting in the end zone.
Yep.
Holmes, like they're gonna get in the end zone. Rodgers has never been that guy. Rodgers has always been the I'm gonna throw it first kind of a situation. And I'm sorry, but when you're on the 1 yard line, 2 yard line,
Yeah, it was.
you just put your pads down and you get low and you run through those 2 guys.
Well, and when he did that late in the fourth quarter or third quarter, where he came up kind of like they said, oh, he was thumb and crap like that again. But it's like, no, that's the play.
Yeah.
That the play we're referring to, you slide that end zone play, you got to go, man.
Yeah, there's a time and a
You
place
had
for that.
it. There was one guy between him and the goal line.
Yeah, was there only one?
I think there wasn't more than one.
To be honest, I don't care if there's 3.
You go for it.
You can't throw the ball behind the receiver by 4 feet and expect him to know that he was supposed to stop and all this crap.
Well, and like they were talking about, that guy was probably looking to throw a block.
He was. Well, yeah. But he didn't know. Like, because
Right.
Rodgers didn't signal, like, hey, stop or nothing.
But then you get your typical like camera in his face and he's doing this.
Yeah, it's
number
always
as he
the
walks
other
out.
guy's
That's
fault.
all he
It's
ever does.
100% the other guy's fault.
All he ever does.
Rodgers could throw the ball 10 feet over the guy's head out of bounds, and
His
it's that
fault.
guy's fault that he didn't have a freaking ladder.
Yeah.
Like, it's
There
old. It
I
gets old.
shared something with you guys. I think it was last
So many
week.
problems with this damn earpiece today.
They're annoying. It's like you got to have it in like an hour and a half before the show.
Well, no,
for
I'm
it
just
to-
trying to get it like so
Yeah,
it's like not
spin it.
sticking out the side of my head.
I shared something with you. I can't remember who the hell it was, but I think it was on like TikTok or Facebook. It was last week one day about a quarterback. Oh, now it's going to bug the crap out of me. I can't remember who it was, but like he's taking, it was Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, it was like a couple weeks ago. He took ownership.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's like, you know what? The defense put me in the right position.
Yeah, well, they actually had a big article on him this weekend because for the last 7 weeks he's been the number one like stats wise quarterback, and they asked him like what kind of turned it around, and he took Jacksonville from a 2-win team last year to
Yep.
the playoffs this year.
Yep.
And he said honestly, he goes, Coach sat me down and he never yelled at me. He didn't whatever. He said. He goes, you are the same kid that did not lose a game in high school, did not lose a game in college.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Won 2 national titles or whatever. You didn't lose for 8 years. You were top recruited, whatever. You're still that same guy, but you don't think like you're that. You don't think you're that guy.
Right.
It's all confidence.
Yep.
And then that's where you're going. Where he started talking about, you know what, our defense was playing great. I needed to step it up, and I needed to be me again.
Yep.
And I had to quit worrying about it. Well, then they started breaking down, like, what did that mean to him? Some of these, all of these guys at that level, the good ones, are all gifted athletes. They're all able to make throws that textbook-wise you're not supposed to be able to make.
Right.
That's why they're one of the top 32 or the only 32 guys or whatever. And of the 32 teams, there's like 10 that are like the guys, right? So there's like 10 guys on planet Earth that can make these throws, right? Rodgers was one of them.
Yep.
The Brady, like, there's not that many of these guys because these teams are always starving for quarterbacks,
right?
Because it's that hard. Well, and he kind of said, you know, he's got all the arm talent in the world and whatever, but he was struggling with, like, when do I need to listen to the coaches and set my feet, step up into the pocket, and when can I, like, just play football?
Yep.
Right, and that's why I've always coached all the guys I coach, like, just play football, like.
Be a football player
like,
first.
Right. Like there's a fundamental way of reasons why you need to do certain things in a perfect world. Very, very often the football field is not a perfect world.
We always told the kids, like, we'll get you to know the right situations, but on the field we can't go play for you.
Yeah, you can't coach every situation.
We're gonna help you hopefully get in the right area, but then you got the rest of it's on you.
Yep. I mean, fundamentals are fundamentals for a reason, right?
Yep.
But when you got three guys coming at you and you got to sidestep and you're on the run, sometimes you don't get to set your feet.
No.
You just don't.
You just gotta
like, you got to just chuck it. Well, that's what Lawrence started saying. He's like, I just started playing football.
Yep.
And now he's running. He's on the run. He's making throws he's not supposed to make.
First time they made the playoffs since what did they say? 2015, I think they said.
Yep. And he's a stud. Like, Lawrence is a stud. But again, the kid's a winner. Winners win. That's what they do.
Yep.
And he just had to kind of get out of his own way. But that's where, see, now, again, with the Rodgers thing, I know there's a lot of money involved. And you could say what you want about sports, but at the end of the day, it's a business.
Yep.
There's a lot of money involved. I don't know how this all thing shakes out with Rodgers, but I've always kind of blamed the offense on the scheme a little bit.
Okay.
Like things like last night, I've blamed him on the scheme. I don't know how much of it's the scheme or how much of it's him because he does check out a lot, which is fine. If I had a guy like Rodgers, he should have the flexibility to check out.
Yeah, like that fourth and and 2.
But are we checking out into good things or bad things?
That was a terrible call.
Agreed. But again, I don't know if I don't know who to blame because you just don't know.
Right.
Again, being on just coaching at the levels I've coached, and I get second guessed, and I'm like, yeah, but you didn't know X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Like just at our little level.
Yeah, right. Yep.
So I try not to second guess too much because there's so many variables that none of us have any clue about, right?
Yep.
But when you watch other teams play, it just seems like let's just talk pass game for a minute. There's so many different like nuances in their pass games that we don't seem to have. Crossing routes, slant routes, little hitch routes, spot routes, all these different things that the Packers just seem to run verticals a lot, and they trust Rodgers to make these stupid throws.
Right.
Now, granted, he's made a lot of stupid throws in his career, but I think with young guys that's difficult because they're, right? Where I think if we had a younger quarterback, it would force the coaches to scheme guys open more than just saying, well, we got Aaron Rodgers, of course he can make that throw.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah. Or is it because we don't have that player? We didn't.
But see, but if we don't have that player, then what have we been like we don't, for Rodgers to be back there as much because he has a lot of time compared to some teams. He's back there a long time, and then he still gets sacked. Right. So we've either got nobody getting open anywhere, or the schemes suck that nobody's open. Because like Brady, like they're all worried about Brady playing this past weekend, and the dude doesn't get sacked. Like if he gets sacked like 10 times a season,
he throws it away.
Because the ball's coming out with Brady all the time. Boom, boom, boom. Well, that's all scheme. That's not those guys being wide open all the time.
Right.
That's the scheme making those guys open, right? A lot of pick routes and a lot of crossing routes, little dig routes, stuff like that. But we just don't. 3rd and 2. I mean, how many times this year, 3rd and 2, did we throw the ball 30 yards downfield? Yeah. My 11-year-old son's sitting there going, Dad, why are we doing this? This is stupid. I'm like, well, you're right. I know.
Yeah, take the easy one.
I can't tell you. He's like, get the first down.
Yeah, definitely didn't that early in the game. I'm all right for us to go for it in 4th and short, but our running game was strong going into that play. Why
aren't we just sneaking the damn ball?
Right.
Because Rodgers isn't that tough.
Right. But like, why we got to run it? What was it? Like a jet sweep, freaking handoff? Stupid. It didn't make any sense.
And every defender on planet Earth knows in that situation that guy comes in motion, and I've taught my sixth graders this. That guy comes in motion. If they snap the ball before he gets past the quarterback, you go from taking this to sweep immediately.
Yep.
All you got to do is watch where he snaps it. If he snaps it before, you've got to stay home.
Yeah.
If he snaps it after, you forget about him, basically, right? Especially on that type of thing. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure an NFL defense can handle that.
Well, obviously that guy did for the Lions.
Well, and then we run it to Lazard, who's not the fastest guy we've got. Like, it's just dumb. It's all dumb.
So the conspiracy theorist in me says Bills in the Super Bowl just because of what's going on.
Well, I mean, they had.
I don't know if they're going to win it, but
they had their Brett Favre dad dying game.
Yep.
On Sunday.
Yep.
Meaning, obviously everyone knows what happened to Hamlin, and sounds like he's getting better, which is fantastic.
Awesome.
To take the opening kickoff back, it's like movie script stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, dude.
It's like movie script stuff, so they definitely going to have a ton of motivation. I think the team that they're going to have the biggest issue with is Cincinnati.
Yep.
Even over KC.
So they got Jacksonville right away, right?
Who does? Well,
this weekend, the Bills?
This weekend is Jacksonville and the San Diego.
Okay.
Or Los Angeles.
Who do the Bills
Chargers.
got right away?
The Bills, I don't even know.
I can't remember.
Well,
Well, that was that other one, like
important.
it was going to have to be on neutral ground,
Yeah.
right? If this, that, and
because
that
they didn't
happened.
get to finish that one game.
Right.
But whatever. I think Cincinnati is really going to be a tough out in the playoffs because, again, Burrow is just a hard ass.
Yep.
And he just don't give zero F's about anybody at all. And he just doesn't care. Home, away. And he's had that mentality since he was in college with LSU.
Yeah.
And he's the dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that guy is legit, and their team's legit, and they're going to be a really tough out. Actually, Cincinnati's got Baltimore, I believe, again.
Oh, that's right.
They're going all back and forth about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's not going to play. He hasn't practiced in 3 months. He's not going to play this week. And if he did, he's not going to be any good.
So do you think this is the end of McCarthy in Dallas, too, now that the Commanders beat him? The team that did have a name last year?
So this is interesting. Here's my thing. Like, McCarthy sucks.
Yep.
I've never been a McCarthy fan, even when he was with the Packers.
Yep.
I'm not a big Dak Prescott fan either, but I feel really bad he's got to listen to McCarthy talk ever because the guy's voice is like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what Jerry Jones is going to do, but like, for instance, the NFL coaching is really interesting to me. Actually, coaching is almost more interesting to me now than the games because of just running businesses, and I coach a lot and whatever. Yep. It seems like NFL coaching is one of the few places you get to fail upwards.
I do. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You get to fail upwards in coaching. Politics is the other one. You get to fail upwards a lot in politics, but NFL coaching, you get to fail upwards. There's no logic on planet Earth for what the Houston Texans did yesterday. Zero logic anywhere. So
that one I didn't see, so you have to explain a little bit.
Houston Texans go into the game.
Yep.
Lovie Smith is their head coach. Now, why in the heck Lovie Smith is the head coach of any team on planet Earth? Okay. I don't know.
Yep. I saw the highlights. Yep.
He wasn't a good coach in Chicago. He had his chance, right? Maybe he's a good coordinator. Maybe he's the nicest guy on planet Earth. I don't know, but he's not a head coach.
Right.
So why does the team bring in Lovie Smith to be the head coach? That's issue number one. So then they go into the game yesterday, and if they lose, they're guaranteed the number one pick in the draft. So they actually try and they win.
Right. They win.
What? And then what did they do after the game? They fired Lovie Smith. Well, then you sit there and you go, well, you're never going to, that organization, like, there's something to be said about how the organizations are run, right? Yeah. You can not like the Packers all you want, but organizationally they're a pretty tight ship and they win, right? The Steelers, now there's some of these organizations are coming around like Buffalo, and Buffalo's been really good now for the last few years, but like Jacksonville, are they going to be able to sustain success? Like
Miami,
right? Like, are you going to be able to sustain success? That's what I mean by the franchise part. Yeah. Any team like the Rams last year, they could build a juggernaut team. They can go to the Super Bowl. They can do all those things. They can win the Super Bowl. The next year, they're 5-11. Right. Are you able to sustain success? That's the way I look at it. Seems like if you're dumb enough that you won't even throw that game, right, to guarantee yourself the first pick in the draft, and then you're going to turn it around with the coach you just hired and then fire that guy, like you're just... Yeah. No, that's terrible.
There's a lot of issues going on there.
That's just terrible. Like, why? I don't know.
are you
And if
watching?
the NFL doesn't want them throwing these games, it shouldn't come down to if you lose this game, you could be the first pick in
Number
the
one
draft.
pick, right.
The number one pick should be a lottery then.
Yeah, it should be a lottery.
If
Just like
that's
the
if that's
NBA
how
does.
the issue is, if that's what the issue is, if there's something behind the scenes that I don't know about, the NFL says whatever. If I'm the Houston Texans and I know if I lose this game, I don't even know if I suit up guys.
Right.
I might be on the field with 10 players the whole damn game.
Right. Just
Well, look at
number one pick.
Jacksonville. The number one pick, if you make the right number one pick, I don't remember what happened. I think 2 years ago when Lawrence, actually my buddy told me this, so I know this is what happened. When Trevor Lawrence was coming out, the New York Jets were in the same situation that the Houston Texans were just in this past Sunday. If they won the last game of the season, they were going to get the number 2. If they lost, they were going to get the number 1, right? They won the game. They ended up the number 2. The number 1 went to Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence. The number 2 is Zach Wilson.
Oh, Jesus.
Zach Wilson's a turd. I mean, but the history of number 1 picks isn't great, right?
Yep.
But if you can make the right move with the number 1 pick, all of a sudden you're Jacksonville and you got one of the top up and coming young guys in the league.
Yeah.
Then you turn around and fire the head coach on Monday. Like, what the?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. It's depressing. But you do. These coaches fail upwards all the time.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And then, I don't agree with what Indianapolis did when they brought Jeff Saturday in to be the interim coach because he had zero experience. Like, everybody was all up in arms with it.
Yeah, but why not change it up a little bit?
Well,
Who
but
cares?
here's my thing. Like, he had zero experience in anything other
was
than
a
high school
lineman.
coaching. Well, he was a lineman, but other than high school coaching, he had no coaching experience.
Right.
Other than being a player. I don't think being a player qualifies you to be an NFL head coach. I don't feel like you need to go out and get an NFL head coach, but it should be somebody with at least some college level experience. I don't think they have to be a pro coordinator or whatever, but at least a college level coordinator at a minimum, right? Because I coach, I feel like I'm a good football coach, but I'm not a college coach. I'm sure I get my butt handed to me, at least for a while.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm smart enough I could figure it out, but so I didn't agree with that. But it's like there's just this small group of people, and they just keep regurgitating these guys that have done nothing but lose for the last 10 years.
Yeah,
I don't get how, if you're gonna, you don't find a winner out of a group of guys that have done nothing but lose for 10 years. There's not a winner in that
but
group.
there's a lot of new faces that have come on
There is,
lately.
but I'm saying some of these organizations just don't seem to get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Dolphins guy, he struggled, but he's a young first-year guy. I think he's got a ton of potential.
Yep.
Josh says, or Jay Romo, 1989 draft, Troy Aikman was number 1, Tony Mandrich number 2.
Well, I thought Barry Sanders was in that one
He
too.
was, yep.
Yeah, Barry Sanders. That was a great pick.
Well, that's just my point. I don't understand why you can suck for 5, 8, 10 years in NFL coaching and then still get a job. When there's tons of college guys that are trying,
looking to make that jump.
Younger guys. I would rather, as an organizational owner, if I was going to take a risk, right? I'm taking a risk on the younger guy who's got a ton of energy that doesn't have that track record versus the guy who's got a track record of doing nothing but being average.
Right.
I don't care about your age or whatever. I don't want a guy who's been nothing but average his whole career. That's not going to get you anywhere.
Well, just look at our politics. I mean, maybe we should be able to get younger people in there to
that's
be more
why
motivated.
That's why they're trying to get term limits passed. But the problem is the people that are in there for life don't want to pass term limits because then they might have to go do something else.
They would have no job.
Right. So anyway, that's a whole nother podcast.
So I didn't. Andy, you back?
Yes, sir.
All right. I want to see this damn thing. So
I got bad news.
Uh-oh.
I locked my case and I don't have my keys.
All right. Well, hey, we'll set that up for Wednesday.
Well, Wednesday we're at Sporto.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe Friday
we'll set it up. So, but all right, we'll take a little football break here. So,
to wrap the Packers season up. I think overall, it's a good thing we didn't make the playoffs because I think that it allows the organization more excuses if they would have gotten in.
Yeah.
I don't think they have those excuses now. It gives the organization and Rodgers, I think that's the number one thing they got to figure out. They don't have to wait another 2-3 weeks to get started figuring that out.
Do it right now.
He's going to take 2 or 3 weeks to think about it anyways, but
it's going to take all year.
He probably will, but at least that clock started now and not 3 weeks from now.
Right. And then we go into San Francisco.
And there's going to be just on a football standpoint, there's going to be some freaking awesome football games in the playoffs. There's some really, really good teams, and now they're going to play each other.
Yep. Yeah.
You know.
Well, we can come back to that, but Andy, go on the screen here. So I want to hear a little bit about this. So you showed us this airsoft world that you kind of live in, and I wish we had the gun. But anyway, so talk about this thing
It
a
looks
little
really
more.
badass. I mean, it looks like an AR. It looks like a real AR.
They got to shoot it out. It was pretty intense.
Yeah, I bet.
Don't tell the boss that.
Yeah, he would give a crap. But like, talk about this, like, cause this is like paintballing on steroids, dude.
Yeah, so it's MilSim, so military simulation. That's the big drive behind it. So with paintball, a lot of people just like to, play speed paintball, run around fast, and throw as much paint as they can. The big thing with airsoft, especially like when you get to big events, it's like 400 on 400, so it's pretty big. And then
Like
it's
people?
usually
like 400 people.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're huge. They're awesome. So your weekend play, you'll typically have like 40 people playing at a time. Like if you just do a random pop-up. But if you go to an actual event, yeah, it's usually 400 on 400. And then it pretty much goes all weekend. So
Is it like round the clock for a weekend, or is it like a 2 hours or an hour game, or how does that work?
Sort of. It depends on which event you go to. So some events, they'll start in the morning. You get your gear up, get your backpack filled up, and you're gonna want to carry, everything you can. You're gonna rucksack it, so you're gonna have a tent. You're gonna have your snacks. You're gonna have everything.
A tent, really?
Yeah, because some events you'll actually reach a spot, and then like when it hits game, like the end of the game day, that's where you set up camp, and then and then you spawn there in the morning.
So you can't be like, they can't come at it in the middle of the night.
There are some special events where they do allow that.
I've always said, even because I've only played paintball a couple of times, it would be super badass if it started like Friday at noon and went till like Sunday at 3.
Yeah.
And it was like this giant game of capture the flag or whatever.
So that's how the big events run.
Okay.
And some of them
Are
don't
those, like,
allow
streamed?
you. No. So that's why I was saying we should get into that.
Because that would be super fun to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'd have to have,
Just to like even to play in that, like, you know what I
People
mean? Like
will
middle of
record
the
it.
night, you could be,
Yeah, people will record it and then like post edit some like 15-minute videos and 30-minute videos, but
I mean,
they don't stream it.
How many acres would you say? I mean, for 400 people, you got to be on a pretty good chunk of ground.
Yeah, it's the one that's around here. I haven't been to any like the big ones, but the one that's here, and they do sometimes host like the 400 on 400s. That one's 80 acres.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
But they're
that's
constantly
pretty cool.
expanding.
No,
But yeah,
you gotta have like face shields on and that kind of stuff, right?
the only requirement is fully sealed eyewear.
Okay,
You don't have to wear anything else,
which makes sense.
but it's highly recommended because
Now, how does it? Now, I've never done airsoft, but how does it feel compared to paintball? Like, do you get like welts and stuff like you do if you get shot with a paintball up close, or?
Yeah. So airsoft it stings more. Like paintball just hurts if you get hit in the right spot. Whereas airsoft, it's gonna sting, but it goes away pretty quick.
Like a bee sting, but then there's no after effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the only time it really leaves a mark is if like you get hit up close range a bunch of times, or if you get it like this weekend, I got it right on my knuckle.
Yep.
Those ones hurt. But if you don't get hit like in those sensitive areas, it's not too bad.
So how's that done then? Because they don't leave a mark. Is it just on the honor system?
Yeah.
Yeah, all honor system.
Were you indoors or outdoors this weekend?
This weekend I played indoor.
Come on now.
Yeah, but
Do you think Andy's out there when it's 10 degrees?
hell yeah.
I don't think Andy's
he's
out when it's.
hardcore about
I don't
this
think
stuff.
it's when he's out there 10 degrees playing airsoft. I don't
Well,
get
that's
that
what I
vibe
was
from
going to say.
Andy
If
at
you
all.
play outdoors this time of year, that sucker's really got to hurt.
So two years ago, on this same weekend actually, I did go out and play outdoor, and it was crazy because we had a lot of snow at the time, and then while we were playing, there was sleet coming down.
Oh wow.
So it was pretty intense, but I don't know. I prefer not to do that because there's a lot of money in your gun and stuff, and
So how far do these? I mean, I'm assuming there's different styles of guns, right? Is there handguns and AR styles? Is there like sniper rifles even, or
yep.
really?
Yeah, the sniper rifles can get pretty crazy.
Like how far can you shoot with one of those?
Man, let me look. Let's see how. I haven't had to go super far because I'm a close quarters player myself.
Is that just because you prefer that?
Yeah. But I'm getting older, so I might switch to sniping sooner than later.
So what happens if everybody switches to sniping? That'd be pretty boring.
It's sniper fest.
Right.
I don't know. I think
You
sniping's
eventually
fun.
got. I agree, but eventually you got to move.
I know, like, when I play video games. Now, do you find that, because we've talked about this geekdom of us a little bit, Andy, do you find that your video game style matches your real life airsoft style?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Minus the jumping around and whatever.
yeah, definitely. Usually my airsoft guns replicate what I use in my game.
Okay.
So
Just curious if there was a difference there or not.
So when you brought this gun in, how fast did you say this thing shoots feet per second wise?
mine's tuned to 400 feet per second.
Dude, that's humming.
Well, what is a bow at?
Oh, bow, if it's fast, a bow is over 300.
Right, but that's when.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm saying,
For an
that's fast.
airsoft gun that
So you probably could shoot. Can you shoot 100 yards?
I just looked. I guess most people tune in at around 80 feet.
Oh,
But-
80 feet with a sniper rifle? That's not sniping.
That's just what the average came up with.
I want to be like. I want
Yeah,
to
but
be
you ever
like.
see these things fly?
No.
Like they curve.
Oh, they don't go straight.
They'll do eventually hit their spot, but if you watch those sniper videos on YouTube, a lot of times like they'll have a curve to them.
Okay.
You know, and they're not real heavy, so the
Well,
wind
right.
can
Yeah, I'm
play
sure
it.
wind's huge.
Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. So 200 to 300 feet, depending on what internals you have.
Divide that by 3.
I was just gonna do that.
So it's like 60 yards, right?
100 yards.
100. Oh, so it is 100 yards.
Yeah, I would. If I could shoot 100 yards of this airsoft, that'd be cool. Problem is it's hard to hide at 100 yards.
I don't know. Some of these guys do a good job of it.
Well, right, but it's not like true sniping.
So with
Like,
the
I want to be like way back there.
yeah. So like the game you played this weekend, what was it? Like just elimination or capture the flag or both?
This weekend it was really busy, so they just did a nonstop team deathmatch with unlimited revives.
So how does that count then? How
Yes,
do you win?
win?
Do they just it's just total kills after a certain amount of time?
Yeah, they didn't even track anything this weekend. It was very
Oh, just Lucy, just
Yeah.
kind of practice almost.
So where
Yeah.
are you? Where do you go right now?
This weekend was Milwaukee. So Milwaukee's got it's called the Airsoft Arena, and it's in the old Mitchell Mall in the basement. And then yeah, that's where I prefer to go in the winter because then you can play anytime because you don't have to worry about weather.
Do they have a bunch of structures in there then that you can hide in and whatever?
Yeah, and they rearrange it every so often too, so it's different.
That's cool.
Do you want to buy some archery tag bunkers?
Who knows, maybe.
We got a bunch of inflatables.
Yeah, they would
that are
work.
just
It's the same
collecting
thing. They'd be
right?
fine.
For paintballing, the same thing. Well, that's pretty cool, man. That's like I think that's one thing. If you got to remember your key, maybe like Brian said for Friday or something like that. That it's very interesting, but the amount of effort that you put into this gun too. This thing is because you said it replicates the real deal, right?
Yeah, it's actually it's licensed by the actual manufacturer and has a serial number from the manufacturer as well. So mine's a SIG, so I actually have it's a licensed SIG and it's got all the SIG branding and everything else.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Did you got to see
I saw it. I
You
saw it in his office when it was sitting there.
Well, the other thing too, I guess, about playing outside because there's battery operation and CO2, right? That just eats that stuff alive when it's so cold out.
Yeah, there's gas, CO2, and battery. Well,
Nice.
you could go just flat out spring as well, but that would pretty much only be if you're a sniper.
Yeah, his gun goes like fully auto.
It's cool. It's something I've never really experienced or done, but it looks awesome.
In a pinch, could you pick one up off the ground and reshoot it, or are you running the risk of it like just not working right? A BB, I mean, or a air pellet.
You could, but yeah, you risk damaging your barrel.
Because of dirt or if it's misshaped or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's yeah, that's not really advised. But
What's-
barrels are not the most expensive things too.
How
So
do they pick them all up off the ground?
I don't know.
Do they like?
This weekend you should have seen the arena. So mainly I'm assuming after hours they go through and sweep or shop vac, but they're mainly all pushed to the outer walls and it's just piles upon piles of BBs.
That's what I mean. Like, are they reused then? Do they wash them or something? They have to.
No.
They just throw them out?
Yeah.
That seems
There's
very...
got to be a way to
do they
clean
melt them
and
down or
resell 'em.
something then?
I'm-
You just have like dumpsters full of them if there's like that many.
There probably is. I mean, they make biodegradable ones
Oh,
as well, but I mean, they take a while to break down.
that's your new business venture, dude, is figure out how to reuse those things like golf balls. Or
Right. You would think they'd be able to like scoop them up, run them through some machine that like polishes them and reshapes them.
shapes
and
and sell them again.
so, like, yeah.
There you go. Figure that out. What's the name of your team again?
Badger Company,
Yeah.
Team Badger Company. So,
Team
That's not
BA.
that's not very original, dude.
hey, I came in late to this team with some old coworkers of mine, so
I think you got
they already had the name.
You got to coax them into coming up with something a little more jazzy.
Yeah, I agree.
Whoop your ass.
What'd you do all the rest of the weekend, man?
I was in the gym. We watched basketball on Saturday. Watched some. My son. They had the Highway 22 challenge between Watoma and Wild
Okay,
Rose.
how'd that go?
The boys did not win the challenge, so it goes like they go all the way from
Did they
like
compete
third.
though, or did they just
No,
not
the
show up?
boys got their tails whooped.
Really?
The girls' game was really good.
No, but what I'm saying was Watoma just that much better, or did your boys just not show up? Because there's a difference there, right?
It was. We just got outplayed.
Okay.
Outplayed. I think it was.
But
really,
because you didn't show up? Because that's always
well,
been
I
my
mean,
thing.
you
Like,
show
know.
up, but they're just a better team.
Okay, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
if
just
they're
a
just better. They're
team.
just
Yeah.
better, and they're gonna
There's
win
some
9 out of
stuff, but
10.
It's just a better team. We just got, but the girls' team was that, and it's that's funny because like it's two different worlds. You know, when you think of basketball, like I will like fast pace, fast breaks. You know, all this kind of stuff. Our girls' team does that. Our girls' team is full court press for 2 halves. They fast break every single play. It's and our guys' team is total opposites. I
wonder why. Better athletes on the girls' teams? I mean, like, pound for
better.
pound?
I want to say it's better instincts too, because like our girls play the passing lane a lot better. They move without the ball a lot better.
They're better coaching when they were little? Younger?
It's got to be something where it's like I think we've talked about this before. Like I'm a rebounder. Like I want you to box your ass out and rebound and get
correct.
that. We've always been on the boys' side a terrible rebounding team.
And that's attitude, right? Isn't
It's
rebounding an
attitude, but
attitude?
like, and I was talking to a parent the other day. Well, how do you coach that? Well, you just don't give them the option not to rebound.
Right.
You know, that's like how you can coach the fundamentals of rebounding, right? Get in the right position, long shot, long rebounds, box out, find a person. Doesn't matter who it is. Get your body on them and box them out. But like, then it comes into practice, like the discipline. Right. And both teams, the girls team and the boys team, are short on numbers right now. But like our girls team condition wise is far better condition than our boys team.
It'd be interesting to see because I get into this coaching philosophy stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a major philosophy change this last fall in coaching because of another coach that I talked to. And what he was basically saying, like in the high school level, again, this is football, but I think you could relate this to basketball, maybe. Let me know. But his philosophy was a lot of coaches run a lot of the old school method was, you do a lot of fundamental drills all the time. What's going on? Are you picking on me?
Poke in your ear or something.
No, but like you do a lot of fundamental drills all day, right?
Yeah.
And you might only run like the team offensive stuff for like 15, 20 minutes a day.
Yep.
Or I talked to this other coach. He's like, we literally run team like the whole practice. We spend almost zero time on fundamentals and all this other stuff, and we just rep the living bejesus out of it. And I was like, well, that's interesting because this guy's one of the best coaches in the state of Wisconsin. I started. I'm like, well, I'm not going to argue that.
Right.
Kids hate the fundamental stuff anyways. So we went over to the team philosophy. I actually talked to the other coach because we were on 2 teams at that level. And he kept doing the fundamental thing, and I went this other direction. And I was able to coach the fundamentals while we were still repping all these plays.
Yep.
It was way more efficient. The kids were having way more fun. They didn't even know that I was coaching the fundamentals while I was coaching it.
Yeah.
And it really worked. I mean, it changed my whole attitude. Like, I already talked to the baseball coach this summer. I'm like, I got a whole different plan here.
So you're basically you're going live the whole time, like not tackle.
Not football. You can't live anymore.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying.
Okay,
but
I just
you're
wanna
like
make sure people don't think
Yeah,
we're
no, you're
live.
not,
No,
yeah, but
you can't do that. But
you're playing football.
full speed offense.
Yep.
Defense is full speed, but you're not tackling. You're just kind of just get
Go
to
through
them.
the
It's almost like
motions.
two-hand touch,
Yep.
so to speak. But yeah, it was a completely different mindset, and it really worked. And the kids responded to it. And we went from, and again, without being able to watch it,
Yeah.
you saw some of the plays or whatever. Like I showed you some from Nolan stuff or whatever. How polished we were compared to all these other teams was not even close.
It does make a lot of sense.
was not
'cause
even close, Matt.
the most fun you had in practice is when you were going against each other.
Right, 100%.
You know, it's either 5-on-5 or football. It's like half a line if you only have enough guys.
If you stand there and you run, let's say you're running pass routes against air,
Yeah, you can't replicate.
how much
it.
is that really helping you?
Right?
Right? Now, the issue you do run into with some of this stuff is they obviously the defense knows your plays, but then you just got to execute better, and that's what it comes down
Yeah.
to. Is like football is like that. I don't care if you know where I'm going. If we execute, you can't stop it.
No.
If my guys right here make their blocks, we're gonna move.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if you know I'm coming here or not. You
Yep.
have to execute, and I think that's just the mindset change. And I know for a fact that I'm gonna coach baseball differently this year because of the success I had this last year when I changed in football.
Yeah.
To more of a we're gonna do this
Yep.
until we get it right,
Yep.
and until you can't get it wrong. That's the difference. Not till you get it right, till you can't get it wrong.
Yes. Yeah. What did I hear? That's how winners
That's
do it till they don't get it wrong.
Well, that's what they say
right?
about professionals. Everybody
Yeah.
can do it, but professionals
Right.
will do it until they can't get it right.
Right.
Can't get it wrong. Excuse
right.
me.
Where
And I don't expect that to be perfect, right? But like you've coached younger guys in baseball. On the infield, what's the number one issue they have? Staying down on the ball.
Yep.
Right? Well, you'll take how many reps in practice? 10, maybe.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't replicate it.
It does well, but it's not enough.
Right.
You'll take 10 if they come up on two. If they come up on on two of them instead of staying on the ball, they're probably going to do that in the game because now they're antsy and they're nervous and whatever. So I told the coach this year, I'm like, I don't really give a flying rats. Whatever we do, if I've got to hit those kids 7,000 ground balls until they stop coming up on them,
Yeah.
I've actually bought different baseballs because just like in football, there's push-ups and this stuff. When you start coming up on the ball when I'm hitting rubber balls at you,
Oh yeah.
like, again, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but if you're afraid of the ball, you're not capable of staying in where you need to be.
Yeah. You're either
Right?
gonna.
I mean, fishing's the same way. Like, if you're afraid of big water,
Yeah.
you can't compete on a tournament on the Bay of Green Bay.
Right.
Because if waves scare you, right, I guarantee you it's going to be blowing 20 miles an hour on Saturday.
Tournament day, yeah.
There's going to be 3.5, 4 footers.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Stand in the corner and shake all day? Well, you can't compete.
No.
It's like you can't compete at that level. And you see a lot of guys fishing tournaments that are really, really good on inland stuff, really, really good on rivers, and they go to these big bodies of water and they can't do it because they're in their own heads on the water itself. It's not that they can't fish.
Yep.
It's just the water and the wind and the environment.
Well, we actually talked about that with Banky on Friday. You know, his first tournament, he said, I was scared S-less, but then
Wow.
he said, what did I do? I made the longest run I could possibly make.
Just to get over it.
Just to go,
For sure.
just to do it. He said, I was so scared, but you know what? I locked through, I made the run because I knew there was fish there, and that helped me.
That's a guy who's going to be successful, right?
Well, right.
A lot of people won't manage that fear, so to speak. It's not fear. Maybe that's not
but
the right
it's
word.
the
Apprehension.
unknown, right? It's
Yeah,
the
it's just,
unknown.
yeah, absolutely.
But I did.
Hey, Matt. You gotta say hi to your mom.
Morning, mom.
Mommy.
But I did hunt yesterday, last day of the season. Sad. I saw a bunch of deer last night.
Did ya?
Man, they were moving well.
I bet.
They were really moving well. I was hunting a standing cornfield, so that
Now, do you
helps.
think some are dropping antlers already?
I think
Is
some
that kind of
are.
early?
I think some are.
Because I swear to God, I've got a picture. I should show you this picture on this
You got shed book.
Tacticam. Well, I swear to God it is. I sent it to my neighbor, and he's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, it's the weirdest looking doe I've ever seen.
Yeah, but you got to remember, your biggest downfall where you have is not enough food.
100%.
So if they don't have enough food,
Does
they
that
don't
cause
have-
them to drop
yeah,
faster?
I think it's part of it.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, Christ, by the time the end of the night was over with, I probably seen
What do you
close
think
to
of that
30
one?
deer.
It
Potentially looks like a shed buck. It's
doesn't
hard
it?
to tell.
I know it is. It's hard. Not a great picture, but I was just interesting.
be.
I mean, it's got his ears back, but those heads usually don't look that square.
No, that is true. Yeah, it kind of looks blocky towards the head.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could
Whatever.
be. It's not uncommon. You'll find
don't know.
some.
My
I've been
bucks-
seeing on social media
I
people are
haven't
finding
seen
sheds
a
already.
crap for buck on a camera in since the end of gun season.
But it's see, like the question I had last night is every deer I saw was a antlerless deer of some kind. I don't think I saw a single horn last night.
Okay.
And it's like, well, your buck to door ratio is off. But the also thing is I was hunting the only standing cornfield that was probably for, within miles. So you get a lot of deer naturally coming to that too. But it's
Right.
I don't know. It was good to see. Good to see a lot of deer, a lot of nice mature does. I was hoping I had only had to recurve. So
Okay.
but it was fun. It was a fun last sit. It's just disappointing that it's over with now.
No, it's just one less thing you have the option to do.
I know.
Now you get to sit there and be cold.
Now it's either I'm going to start to do some crow hunting, I think, and I think it's time to get some predator hunting done.
Okay. If you want to try some predator hunting, you can use my place.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, go for it, please.
I would
Shoot
love
every
to.
coyote you can see.
I would love
They're
to.
fine.
I'd love to get into that thermal game like Brad Fuller does.
Sounds expensive.
It does sound expensive.
Like to
just
do
for
it-
a coyote, like
To do it right, it sounds really expensive.
yeah. So, but coming up this week, we got some exciting stuff this week. So we're going to Sporto because we did get a viewer reach out. He wanted to know stuff about ATVs. I don't know if we're going to tackle the rules so much. Like if you want to know rules and regulations, just get a hold of DNR.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that anyway.
we're not going to play that
I don't
game.
want. Yeah, no, but it's just legally, you don't want to take our advice.
Correct.
Because our advice
we
isn't
are
gonna-
not the authority.
Our advice is not going to hold up for you if you say, "Hey,
It
Matt,
is-
hey, I was watching this TRS Live show and Matt said this." That's not going to get you anywhere.
It is funny though, like being in this business, how many of my buds reach out to me and they're like, what about the DNR rules? What about this rule? I'm like, I don't freaking know. I have to
Even
know
if you do, you don't really want to tell them.
right, and I have to know the rules just like you have to
Right.
know the rules.
Right.
But then since Bob is in the chat, we are trying to go up there Thursday if everything works out, and we're gonna do our first ever Green Bay landing report and ice
Nice.
report video
With
up
Bob
there.
or
Yep.
no?
I'm
Oh,
gonna-
nice.
Yep, Bob and I have been talking. Well, he's the authority up there. I mean, he
Right.
is gonna know that body of water ins and out.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to kind of go to some of the more popular areas, check out ice conditions, just to let everybody know. And then it's probably time to get back down here and shoot another Bago system video.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I'm assuming things are pretty solid and pretty good. Right
yeah,
now.
but
It's
I
been
don't
pretty-
think it's as good as everybody thinks it is.
You don't think so?
I don't think there's as much ice. I don't know. I haven't been out yet. I was going to maybe get
It's
out
been
this
pretty
weekend.
cold. We don't have any snow. I would think the ice is pretty good shape.
Now, hopefully, if we get the cold weather, it should
It's
start
supposed to warm up
stacking
a little this week, but the nighttime temps are still
Yeah.
pretty cold. So
You otherwise, anything else this weekend? Anything fun?
no, we just kind of hung around. We had a bunch of stuff going on, and
Are you not
and-
sledding right now? No snow?
well, up north is getting better. The New Year's week really beat the snot out of the trails up north.
yeah.
So we gave it a week off to try to hopefully get some more snow, and they can kind of. It was so warm. Well, it was kind of catch-22. New Year's is a huge time up north. There's a ton of people up there
Yep.
because they got the breaks right between Christmas and New Year, and they don't have to take a bunch of vacation. So there's ton of people up there riding. But then we had such warm temps; it was in the 40s, and the trail groomers can only run when it's like below 20, I think,
Yeah.
because otherwise the snow's real mushy and it just does more harm than good. Everything got real washboardy, like really bad, like
Don't they
Olympic
get
mogul.
slick too when there's so much
Well, because
traction on them?
they get turned to ice.
Yeah.
So when it gets to 40 during the day, and when a snowmobile a lot of the air cooled snowmobiles use the snow to cool themselves down.
Yep.
So like if you don't know how it works, like the tracks kick snow up, and then that whole runner underneath your seat is like a big giant radiator, basically constantly is using the snow so you're constantly eating through the snow.
Yep.
Well, then you got moisture in the snow that's left over,
Yeah.
and then when it gets cold, everything turns to ice, which isn't always bad.
Makes them faster.
It
but
does make
they're
them
more
faster, but corners
treacherous.
can get a little crazy and whatever. And northern Wisconsin, they do a ton of grooming or whatever. But anyway, so with the warm temps, they weren't able to run all day. They could only run like through a smaller window at night, so they were having a hard time keeping up
Yep.
with all the people. So we figured give it a week, hopefully they can get some more snow, and then if they can't get snow, at least they can get through and kind of get them flat again.
So
'cause
does
they
that
were
mean you're going to try to
brutal.
go this
We're
weekend?
gonna head up there this weekend, yeah, probably Thursday night.
How far north do you go?
Mercer usually.
Okay.
Like as far north. Well, we'll go wherever the snow is,
Yep.
but typically it's way up there.
Yep.
And the trails are just better. Like if you've ever ridden, I've never ridden real southern Wisconsin, but like Winnebago County and Waushara County, trails are okay, but they're so much better up north. They're wider, they're better marked.
The runs are short for the most part, right?
Yeah,
around
short.
here?
Yeah, well, it's just a lot of it's through open farm fields. They get a lot of
Is that
wind
what you
blowing
want
stuff.
as a
How
snowmobiler?
fast can you go?
How fast can I go? Really fast.
What
I don't do that anymore though because I'm old and
is there a speed limit on the trails?
only at night.
What is it at night?
55.
Holy shnikes,
It's
really?
55 at night, but I don't. With my wife and my 12-year-old, if we're cruising at 45, I'm good. I don't really.
So everybody has one, right? Like you guys, you're not riding 2-ups or whatever?
My wife does and my daughter's along, but other than that, this is the first time in 19 years I've had my own sled.
Really?
Because I've had, Jimmy first and then Nolan, so I've had 19 years of having somebody on a 2-up. This is the first time I've had my own.
Kenna doesn't
sled in
ride
18
with you
years.
because you're too crazy?
Yeah,
or
she
what?
likes to ride with mom.
Yeah.
I don't really ride that crazy. It's a lot of that's. I just don't feel the need to try
Right.
to run
Not
myself
the
into a
need for
tree.
speed.
And
Yeah.
it's that whole thing. Like when you're young, you don't care because you don't think about the rehab. And now I'm like, 6 weeks of that would suck.
Yeah, but when you get in those open farm
Oh
fields,
yeah, then
you
I'll
let
let her
rip
go.
a little bit.
See, to me, I don't care about the top end. I like 0 to whatever.
Yeah.
Like I like that initial acceleration. Like that's what I like. That's fun. So I like getting in and out of corners and like that. But once I get up to 45, I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Okay, you're fast.
Like I don't need to be going 120 for anything. I mean, I could, but I don't really
Right.
care to.
Do you
I did not know they go that fast.
They go really fast.
Oh, dude, they're.
I mean, it depends if you've got a 600 versus an 800 or whatever, and then you can go every tricked out thing you can do to your airsoft gun. You could trick out all these snowmobiles too.
Yeah.
that's
Except
like-
it's like 3 times more expensive when they
Yeah, right.
break.
Oh, right.
And everything on snowmobile
yeah.
breaks.
Well, then like my son, 19, right? Everything's got to be loud and go super fast. I'm like,
Yep.
you do that.
Right.
I'm gonna stay over here and keep my bones intact, and
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yep. Yep.
And that's the other thing. Like I like loud. I to a point, but I don't need the loudest snowmobile anymore. Like I don't need the thing to be screaming and
Yeah. Why draw attention?
right. I don't know. Just an age thing. I get it. It's
So this
fine.
is your second time potentially riding this weekend
yeah.
or this year?
will be our second time out
Or,
this
yeah,
year.
2022,
It's real early
23.
still. Like snowmobiling, like when you like the best snowmobiling is really end of February, sometimes early March, because a lot of the people got it out of their systems.
Oh.
And they're starting to do spring stuff down here, but if you go up in the UP, they still have got like 7 feet of snow,
Yeah.
and it's a lot more to yourself. And
So do you
just as
prefer
cold as
riding
it-
during the day or at night? I mean, you can see more stuff
Well,
during the day,
no,
obviously.
actually, it's the opposite. I prefer to ride at night because you can see the bumps in the snow better. Ice is the same way too. You can see the bumps in the snow better, and it's easier to see what's happening at night. And you can see the lights of the other sleds coming at you
Yep.
at night. Obviously,
Yeah, true.
So I prefer to ride at night. I don't prefer to ride at night just because there's a lot of people that don't do what they should do during the day
Yep.
that
I
are
know
also
that's
riding
kind
at
of where
night.
I was going to ask that question. If it's,
So that's
it's
why
like
we
driving
don't.
on the roads after a certain
Yes.
time on a weekend.
So we don't typically ride a lot at night just because I'm not going to have, I don't want to get, I don't have run-ins with certain people. And I see them at the bars because you stop at a lot of bars during the day to warm
Yeah.
up, eat lunch, dinner,
Sandwich,
whatever.
yep.
Then there's some guys in there that really shouldn't be on the trail right now. And, they're going to ride home. So
What's
I just
it-
typically try to be off the trail within not early, but we don't ride till 9 or 10
Yeah.
just because of that.
Well, plus it's a long day. It's cold.
Right.
It makes you tired. What is the most amount of miles you put on in a weekend?
In a weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably 300, 150
Is that
a day.
is that a lot?
That's a lot. I mean, that's really giving her. I mean, that's 150. If you only go for 2 days, it's 150 miles a
Yeah,
day. You'll feel it on Monday. That's a lot.
So for you guys,
I mean, I'm sure there's some guys out there like, we do 300 a day. Okay, great. But I'm just saying,
right.
on average with the kids, if we put in 80 a day, we're pretty good.
So okay, so how does that work? Do you stay at a hotel or something, and then you make a trek and you make a big loop
That's
back
what we
to
try
that
to
hotel?
do. Yep. That's typically what we try to do is try to find a big loop. And your loop will either be 50, 80, 100 mile loop. And then you end up back when you end up. And sometimes it gets to be an adventure.
Is the signage good enough on a lot of those trails?
That's the other thing up north is the signs are everywhere.
okay.
Well, then now I just got a new sled this year. I've got a 7-inch touchscreen with the Polaris Ride Command on it.
Oh, nice.
So I have the entire state of Wisconsin trail maps all digital, and then it's literally like a plotter for your boat.
yeah.
And it really shows me on there, and it's really awesome
that's
now.
pretty cool.
But for years we just had to go off of maps and
Yeah.
signage and all that kind of stuff. But the trails up north are so much better marked than they are down here.
Right. They got to be.
I've still managed to get lost a couple of times, but
Yeah, I can imagine, especially when you don't know where the heck you are.
well, then that's where
it's big woods up there too.
that's where it gets hard at night, and then your cell phones don't work a lot.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Oh, very nice. Is that it, Andy? Are we done? Has it been an hour?
It's been an hour,
It's
man.
been an hour.
It is 9:59.
It is exactly an
It's
hour.
almost like you do this for a living.
I try to.
It's almost
I try to. I think
like
we
you
covered
talk
some
for a
good
living.
stuff today. We changed it up a little bit.
I think
we
you should
talked some
talk to
foosball.
Mr. Bob Kloss about doing a show for Fix. That's what I think you should do.
Ooh, I think
Like
I got his phone number.
Like some kind of ice fishing
yeah,
drama series.
yeah, like Whitefish, the real something.
Yes.
Yeah, have a Scott
You never
Peter
know.
voiceover.
There's always an option if somebody wants to do stuff like that.
There's plenty of options. So this option is over with for today, though. So we're gonna be back. I don't know
Is
if Brian.
BJ going to be with you on Wednesday?
Yeah, so I think
Porto?
I'm gonna go there.
Oh yeah, I think you should.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there. We're definitely gonna go there. I know
Okay.
that for a fact. I think Andy and I should go test and make sure we know what the heck is blood on the ice. Says Dylan. There you
Do
go.
it. I like
It
it.
is one of those things. Whitefish bleed really a lot. So that's a good title. Yeah, so that's what's going on. Wednesday, we're going to be live from Sportamotive. I think BJ and I are going to be chatting. Then the Scotties probably should come along. So if we want to walk around, show sleds and
Nice, perfect.
all that kind of stuff
Yep.
and show some of the accessories. They got some good stuff
Bob,
going on.
I'm not joking. If that's something you're interested in, you should definitely talk to us.
Yeah, there you go. And then Friday, I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about Friday. We'll figure that one out. After
We'll worry about
Wednesday.
that Friday. What time's the show? 9?
9.
8:55.
Yeah. So, all right, everybody. Well, hey, it's Monday. Hope you get out there, kick off the week in the right way, kick it in the butt, and get rolling with it. But then we will be live from Sportamotive Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. So we'll see everybody then.